Hey everyone, we're Chris and Sara, and this is Kramer, by the way, if you don't know him. And we live full-time in our Mercedes Sprinter van right here.
So if you're new to this channel, we're actually travel vloggers, but our van is a huge part of what we're doing right now since we are living and traveling in it full-time. So we self-converted this van back summer of 2018, and we're gonna walk you through it today. You may have seen our past van tour, which we're gonna link to below. It's a shorter, sort of just a quick run through of our van. It's about 14 minutes long. Hey guys, welcome to our van. So if you really don't want all the detail and you really just want a quick overview of what we live in full time, you can check out the other video, I'll link it down below. But this is for you all who have asked for all the detail, the components that we've used and that kind of thing.
And we actually did an update in the van, and we will show you that as well.
So before we get into it, we do want you to know that we do have time codes down below of all the different sections / rooms. So if you're interested in a certain part of the van, you don't want to watch the whole video, that's fine, no hard feelings. Time codes are down below. So welcome to our home on wheels. Let's get going.
Welcome to the Entryway, where we do all our videos.
It's true, but not for long, and we're going to show y'all why. Okay, but in the entryway, to start out, we do have an outdoor rug, which we picked up from IKEA. It does have a rubber bottom, which really traps in water and dirt and that kind of thing. It sort of keeps it more consolidated. Over to my right, your left, we know we're gonna get questions about these. These are fake succulents. We picked them up from IKEA, as well as a little shelf. This is new. It just adds a little bit of color without the mess. Next to the succulents, you will see a few different like techie kind of things. These two actually go to our Simply Safe security system, and we're gonna talk a lot more about that because we do get a ton of questions about that. That's its own section, so if you wanna jump to that, time code's below. But this is part of our security system. This is a light switch, and it's on a dimmer, so we can turn it on and off, and it controls the lights in the front half of the van.
So beneath all of this, we actually have Kramer's food and water bowl, where he eats every meal of the day.
And when you first step into the van, on your right side, our left, the passenger seat is on a swivel base, which is really nice to have as an extra seat.
And beneath the passenger seat is our S-Bar D2 heater, which it's set to blow its hot air into the cargo, our living area in the van.
Above the cab area, we have a headliner shelf, which holds a ton of stuff. It's where we keep most of our camera gear and some other lighter weight things like Kramer's toys, as well as some like hats and scarves. There's just a couple of Rubbermaids, and then all of our camera gear is on one side. The only other thing we have up there is our Simply Safe home base, which is sort of an essential if you have the security system in here.
So the next section is the kitchen.
So when we made our kitchen, our main idea was to keep it as homey and as functional as possible. Since we do live in this full time, we wanted something that was very practical for us. We have two faucets in our kitchen above the sink. One is just regular water coming straight from the tank, and it does get hot and cold water. The smaller one next to it is straight from our water filtration system, and it's a 4-step water filtration system that is stored underneath the kitchen sink. And then right next to it, we do have a soap dispenser. The kitchen sink is a farmhouse kitchen sink, which we picked up at IKEA on clearance, might I add. And it's been really nice to have this big of a kitchen sink. We weren't expecting on getting one this big, but actually it's been great, and we're really glad we did that. Inside the sink, we do have a sponge holder as well as a dish rack, which is helpful when drying dishes and you put them back in the sink so they're not rolling all over the counter. We also have a magnetic bar for our knives behind the stove. And then over on the far right side of the counter, we keep our coffee pot. And this is one of our favorite things we bought about halfway into van life so far. If you're gonna run a coffee pot like this, you do have to make sure that you have the battery capacity and the inverter size to be able to handle it. I think it's an 1100 watt coffee pot. We'll link to the exact one in our stuff. As soon as it's done brewing, it doesn't have a hot plate that keeps it warm the whole time. It's actually an insulated thermos thing, so it stays warm for hours, and this has been a great addition. It helps us to like stay in and not go to as many coffee shops, saving us money. And then next to that, we have an essential oil diffuser. I personally like candles. I'm not a big essential oil person, but maybe you are. This has actually been really nice for us because it helps to make the van smell fresher and cleaner. I like candles personally, but they're not the safest. I left a candle burning one time we were driving and I forgot, and it spilled wax all over the kitchen counter. So lesson learned, it could have been a lot worse. It was a stupid mistake on my part, but ever since then we've used this and it's been great.
And it's USB, so we're able to plug, it's a USB thing, so we can plug it into the computer or into one of our electrical outlets.
I think it was actually made for cars, and since it's such a small area, like why not?
So our backsplash is made out of ceramic tile. It's the same tile that we used inside the shower.
also have a ratchet paper towel dispenser that's located directly above the sink.
Our counter is a 1-inch butcher block counter, which we picked up at an overstock lumber yard for about 75% less than what it was at Home Depot.
And something nice about this butcher block is usually when you see butcher block, it's either going to be fake wood, which means you can't cut holes out and it would be really noticeable, or it's going to be 2 inches thick, which is also twice as heavy as our 1 inch. Butcher block is already heavy enough, so we were really glad we found a 1 inch. If you can find that, go with it. Saves weight. Beneath the counter, we actually have our oven and stove combo, which is run off of the propane. We almost didn't put this in our van, but we're so glad we did since we are full-time. It allows us to eat in more, and we know that we can make just about any meal we want to in the van. It vents from the back of the stove, so whenever we're preheating the oven or it's cooling off, and when we're cooking the entire time, even if we're just using the oven, we do have to leave the top of the counter open so it can vent out the heat. Even though we lose counter space when we are using our oven, when it's running or something like that, since half of our counter is up, it really hasn't been that bad of a problem. Since it's already a small kitchen, we do most of our prep work all at one time, whether it's like cutting veggies or anything like that, and then we put it all in the bowls, and then we start cooking it all at one time. There's just not a lot of room to move around, that kind of thing, so it really hasn't been a problem for us. We haven't missed it. The stove has a 3-eye range, and the oven goes all the way up to about 500 degrees, and it's cooked very accurately so far. We've cooked a lot of stuff in it.
Beneath the oven, we have storage for a few pantry items such as canned goods and breads, and to the left of the stove, under our sink, we have our storage. Inside there is our water filtration system, our bathroom stuff, toothbrushes, other cosmetic type things. We have a small trash can, and really this is the biggest size of trash can that you probably want inside of a van. On the bottom shelf, we keep our pots and pans, cutting boards and strainer, and our box of medicine and first aid kind of stuff there.
To the right of the oven, we have another cabinet. The top shelf is where we keep all of our cooking utensils, our forks, our spoons, can openers, that kind of thing. The second shelf is where we keep our plates, bowls, mugs, and some extra glass dishes which we put leftovers in to store in the fridge. The bottom shelf is where we use to keep food. And we actually have the wheel box that extends into the bottom shelf of the cabinet, which we utilize as an extra shelf for food. So it keeps it a little bit more organized. We have a Rubbermaid. Rubbermaids are great in vans, by the way.
Yes.
They really do help keep things easy to see and kind of stored away. But we store a lot of our food on that bottom shelf. So the lower cabinets in our kitchen, we did pick these up at IKEA, and so far they've held up great. We actually polyurethaned the edges of them, which is something we read from other people who had used these in really humid climates and in RVs, and they've held up very well for them as well as for us. It sort of keeps the moisture from getting in where the rough edges are exposed in the cabinet. So before we assembled them, we actually polyurethaned it, and they've held up perfectly. So these are from IKEA. The upper cabinets in the kitchen, we actually handmade ourselves. But the cabinet fronts on all of our cabinets, the stainless steel cabinet fronts, are from IKEA.
So our fridge is at the far end underneath our bed. It's an isotherm fridge. It's a fridge and freezer combo. Isotherm makes the most energy efficient fridges on the market for RV and marine use. This fridge is marine grade, so it still works when you're on uneven ground. So the next section is the bathroom.
Our bathroom roughly takes up about 24 inches by 36 inches in our van. It is widest at your feet area, and then it gets narrower at the top as the wall of the van does curve. So it is tiny. We will have Chris demonstrate this for us. It's easier for me to get in there than it is him, but it is possible, and it's really nice to have.
It is possible. And I am 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, and so I fit. It's just not gonna be the biggest bathroom you've ever been in your life. So, but it does work.
All right. In our shower, we do have hot and cold water. The shower tile is ceramic tile, and before you all light us up about putting real tile in the van and telling us how it's never gonna last, let us go ahead and tell you how well it's held up. We have driven over 55,000 miles now in this van in a year, and that is over 1,000 miles down gravel and dirt and crazy, crazy roads, and we have not had a single tile break, fall, anything. So we've been really happy.
Really good.
We did know that the shower and the grout and the mortar and everything was going to be a big weight factor in our van, but that was one sacrifice we decided to go ahead and add. We decided to go ahead and use part of our weight capacity in the shower. In our shower, we also have a porta potty cassette toilet, and we went the cassette toilet route versus a composting toilet for a few different reasons. And quickly, we'll just tell you that one, it's a lot cheaper. It doesn't require any sort of permanent installation, no fan, no electrical wires, no anything like that. And 3, you really only have to empty it. For us, it ends up being about every 5 to 7 days. Whereas if you had a composting toilet, the liquids have to be emptied more often and the solids have to be emptied less. We've been really happy with it, and we're gonna tell you how it's actually worked pretty well for us. A couple of things that make it feel a little bit more like a real toilet, and it really keeps the smell down. At the top of the toilet, we have an electric flush, and then there's a freshwater tank that we fill up when we go and take the toilet at the dump station to empty it. We just refill the water tank there. So it keeps it flush, like you actually have like a normal house kind of flush, not as strong, but it works. On the left side of the toilet, there is a lever, which is essentially how you flush the toilet. Everything falls down when you pull the lever, and then it locks back shut, and this is a smell-proof lever. So unless you're leaving the lever open, you're not gonna smell anything. And even the toilet lid on top of that has a little latch, and so nothing's getting out. We don't smell it. We are really happy with the less expensive cost. We went into it knowing that if we hate it, we're out a lot less money than if we had started with a composting toilet and hated emptying that every few days.
You happy in the shower? You modeling the shower? Look at it.
And the beauty of being able to take the toilet out is that you get a larger shower. And so
that's a good point. I forgot to mention that actually.
So inside the shower we have a basket and hooks for our towels and soaps and other different shower needs. They are hung by Command strips.
Command actually makes a special like shower kind of tape, so that's what they are. They work great. We also have a light inside the shower. It's different from the ones that are in the main living area of the van. It's an indoor-outdoor waterproof LED light that we picked up at Home Depot. The light switch is on the outside of the shower against the shower wall behind the driver's seat. A lot of people asked us about venting the shower, and we thought about installing a special fan inside the shower, but we decided against doing so. And the reason being is we don't take very long showers in there, and oftentimes we don't even take hot showers in there, so there's less steam and that kind of thing. But we have a venting window right across from the shower on the sliding door, and then a fan in the ceiling, and that really helps to draw and pull out the moisture in the room. So we've never even noticed an excess of moisture in the air afterwards like you would in a normal bathroom. So for us, it hasn't been a problem. We've had no problems with moisture.
And another question we get asked a bunch is what our ceiling is made out of, and it's actually just leftover vinyl flooring that we used on our floor right here, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. The last thing that we have in our shower is our laundry basket, which we picked up at IKEA. We keep it in there, all our dirty laundry. It's easy to get in and get out.
Another area we're gonna quickly talk about in the van. Nothing about this video is quick, and that's the whole point of it, so I don't know why I said that. But the next section of our van is the cab area. In the cab area, it's pretty straightforward, basic cargo van kind of thing. Nothing special about it. We're gonna show you where we store a couple of things just to give you a better idea of space. So above the visors on both the driver's and the passenger sides, there is a tiny shelf, and we use that shelf to store a first aid kit. We also use it to store our rain jackets and Kramer's rain jacket and bear spray for when we were in bear country. We wanted to have it close by, so we do have bear spray up there. We have, basic sunglass holder. We have a USB port on the driver's side. It does have Bluetooth, all that kind of thing. So your basic 2018 van. Behind the driver's seat on the bathroom wall, we do have hooks, and this is really where we store all of our bags. So we each have a shower bag there for when we go and shower at a gym or work out. We also have our work bags, which is easy access right behind the driver's seat.
And probably the most important thing in the cab, in between our seats, we keep Kramer's bed. So that way he's always between us.
That's where he likes to sit a lot of the time when we're driving. So he's a pretty lazy dog. He doesn't get up too much. He's very safe and stays with us. And then also, attached to the headliner shelf, we do have just a basic curtain rod, and we have a blackout curtain that is used for privacy and also just to keep out light. Say we're working in the van somewhere and there are people around, we don't want them being able to look back in our van, but we don't want to put the curtains up, or the reflected curtains up in the cab. We can just pull this and it blocks out more light.
We also have 3 reflectix that we put up in the windows on the driver, the passenger side, and the windshield. It keeps a lot of the heat out, and primarily we do that for Kramer. So that way we can keep heat in if we need to, or keep heat out, and they work great.
Next section.
The office and dining area.
So this is the big change. You guys may have seen us hinting at it in our most recent 1-year review video. Before, if you saw our old van tour, and if you haven't, we're linking it down below like we said, but we used to have 2 iMacs in here. We really wanted to be able to know that we were gonna have a solid workspace. When we started on the road, I didn't have a good laptop. Chris did, but I did not. And so we just used what we had, and we brought our iMac versus going out and also dropping $2,000 more on a new laptop then. We also found ourselves this year staying more in cooler and wetter climates, and we thought we did want to have somewhere to hang out. And we didn't know we were going to. We thought we're always going to travel on the cusp of the seasons, and we do, but we also find ourselves like spontaneously going to colder places, and it's been nice to have somewhere to hang out when it's cooler, and we don't want to be outside. So we really didn't have to purchase a lot to make this booth, which was really cool. We used old offcuts of 1/2-inch birch plywood for the actual benches, and then the tabletop is actually a leftover cut-off piece from the kitchen counter. So it's the same 1-inch butcher block that we used for the kitchen as well as the desk. And so we actually still have our desktop still, which we had in here before, that if we ever decide to go back to a desk, which we may do one day, but we do have that in storage. We can go back and easily swap this out. This was all very easy to put in. I think we did it in a day, right?
Yeah, it was
really fast.
It was half a day. It was really fast. So we also removed our upper cabinets from the office section, which we lost a little bit of space, but we actually gained some space back by putting our benches in, because now we're able to store stuff inside our benches.
So one of the benches does actually have the second wheel hub inside of it, so you lose a little bit of space there, but it's actually worked out pretty well for us. We didn't really need as much storage for clothing and that kind of thing as we thought we would. So inside the first bench, we keep some extra shoes, we keep towels and a blanket, just things that are sort of in the way, kind of oddly shaped. So we just toss those in that box and it's worked well. In the other side, we keep some cleaning supplies and Kramer's dog food, things that we want to get to pretty often, but we don't really want to waste cabinet space on.
When we built the van with the desk in mind, we almost didn't put a window there, but in the end, we decided to do so because we thought we may be putting a bench there later down the road.
As far as decorations in the booth area go, we have a magnetic bar with clips above the window, which we use to hang pictures from our favorite memories. And then we also have 2 hooks on the bathroom wall, which we store my favorite hats. So we're using decoration and storage, trying to like double dip in that a little bit by hanging those there. Our seat cushions are 4-inch memory foam, and we had a local upholstery guy back home cover those seat cushions for us. And they've worked really well so far. He put a zipper on so we can take those off and wash them. And then we just picked up the fabric from Joann's Fabric.
And the pillows that you see are from Target.
Woohoo!
All right.
So that pretty much covers our new desk area. Just to talk about it for a second before we move on to the bedroom area, it's worked out really well for us. We definitely miss having the full office area. Like that really was, it was nice. It was just easier, and we really liked having that larger screen. We can move more windows around, that kind of thing. But this is a fully livable, functional van. So we decided to change it up because we wanted to have more options, and we may go back to it one day, we may not, I don't know.
But we showed that it was possible to have an office and a living area in a van, and we loved it. We used it every day.
Yeah, so if you are contemplating that, no, it's a great option. We really genuinely liked it, but we also really like this too. We just wanted to change it up and see what we thought for very little money.
All right, on to the next section, the bedroom.
Our bed is a custom cut mattress that is somewhere between a king and a queen size. We use a 6-inch memory foam mattress for the bed and cut off the extra width and height using an electric meat cutter.
We have windows on each side of the bed. That vent, which creates a great wind tunnel, brings the interior temp of the van down significantly.
On each side of the bed, we have a wall outlet with USB ports, great for charging phones at night. We also each have a little shelf for holding journals and phones and that kind of thing, so we're not losing stuff in the bed.
We get a lot of comments that if Sarah bumps her head at night.
That's my side of the bed with the cabinets?
Yeah.
No, I don't actually, and it works out pretty well, and I'm saying this honestly, like I really don't hit my head there. How it works is I sleep on that side of the bed, and then Chris sleeps on the driver's side of the bed. Kramer actually sleeps underneath the cabinet, so he does sleep in our bed with us, but that's sort of like his little area. He likes to rest his head on that window, and it's worked out well. That's his side, I'm in the middle, and then Chris is on the other side, and it's been great.
So I have 2 cabinets that I store my clothes in. Sarah has 2 dedicated cabinets that she stores her clothes in, and then we have 1 cabinet that is an assortment of just random things like books or charging cables, etc.
Yeah, so it's 5 cabinets total, and each cabinet is roughly about 2 feet wide. So 2 for each of us in clothes and 1 random one. Everybody has that random junk drawer in their house, and that's ours.
It's a 2018 170 extended Mercedes Sprinter.
And the way it's different from the 170 extended, which you probably see more often, is there are actually 18 extra inches at the back. And while the wheelbase is the same for the 170 extended, you do have an extra 18 inches of hangover. And this isn't a problem. People are concerned about bottoming out and things like that pretty often, but really, you're not gonna bottom out that much more than a 170. The only time we've ever hit in the back is really when we're coming out of like a parking lot with a big dip. Never off-road or anything like that. So if you're concerned about that, we haven't had a problem.
No, we haven't. We bought this van brand spanking new with only 12 miles on it.
So our van came completely as a cargo van. There was nothing inside of it. There were no windows. So we did purchase 6 C.R. Lawrence windows, and we had those professionally installed. So we have one on the sliding door, which does vent. We have 2 small slider windows by the bed on each side. We put 2 rear windows in on the back doors, and we put 1 in on the driver's side in the middle section.
We also installed an aluminum slider on the driver's side, which we love.
On the top, we have 2 100-watt solar panels, as well as our Max Air fan, which we have a remote to as well. It has 10 different speeds, and it's got a rain shield so we can run it when it's raining or when it's sunny outside. One other thing we did go ahead and add up on the roof is the roof rails. These do not come in our van. Sometimes they do, so be sure and check your van before you purchase these. But ours did not. So we went ahead and put the roof rails on with the intentions of one day adding maybe like a roof rack or an awning. If we ever wanted to do anything, that had to go on first. That was actually the very first thing we did on our van. So underneath the van, we have 2 gray water tanks. We have one 19-gallon gray water tank that's located directly beneath the shower, and we also have one 7-gallon gray water tank located directly beneath the kitchen sink.
We also have a propane tank mounted underneath the van on the driver's side.
Next to the propane tank, we also have our shoreline plug, which allows us to plug in at campsites or at homes or wherever we're at, power the van. The last thing underneath our van is actually all the stuff that makes our Espar D2 heater work. Our Mercedes van actually came with the little diesel tap line already on it. Yeah, a little fuel tab already on the diesel tank, so we didn't have to mess with that or add that. But it already had it there, and some do, some don't, so check your van. Our Espar D2 heater is located inside the van underneath the passenger seat, but all the lines, as well as the muffler and the exhaust and all that, is underneath the van, so you will see that.
Yes, and if you're installing that, that's where it goes.
Which brings us to our next section of this van tour.
Security.
While most of our security is simply safe, and we're going to walk you through that, we do have a couple of other features we do want to share with you guys. We have a fire extinguisher mounted in the kitchen dining area along the wall of the bathroom. We also have carbon monoxide and fire detectors. There's a 2-in-1 that's mounted up at the ceiling, and we also have an explosive gas detector, which is at the floor. Just go in knowing that us talking about our Simply Safe system, this is not sponsored. We don't even have an affiliate link with them. We're just going to tell you guys why we have it and really answer questions you guys have had along the way, because this is sort of unusual. We've only seen this in a couple other vans now. Yeah. All right, so just walking through the different pieces that we have. This is our home keypad. It's how we unlock the van when we come in. It's how we set the alarm when we're leaving, all that kind of stuff, just like a normal house security. This security system is made for permanent addresses like houses, apartments, condos, that kind of thing. It is not made for RVs. And so go in knowing that this security system, it can't keep you safe. It just is more of a monitoring system, which we knew going into that. So if it were in a normal house, when this goes off, it notifies Simply Safe, and Simply Safe would dispatch police to the location that you have on file. Because we're moving, we have disarmed this feature, and it really just notifies us on our phones when an alarm is set. So like today, Chris accidentally set off the alarm. He forgot it was on when he came back to the van, and it went off, and I got notified on my phone that Chris just set off the alarm in the van. Yeah. Not a big deal. You just turn it off. You can turn it off from your phone or from the keypad. The main reason we do have this is for little Kramer here. I don't know if you can see him.
Kramer,
there he is.
Give the sad look.
He's sleeping. Why'd you do that?
Sorry.
We wanted a way to keep an eye on him and really monitor the conditions of the van when we're away. So Simply Safe systems are fully customizable. The most expensive parts are the home base and the security camera, which we knew we were going to get. Those are the 2 things we really wanted. In addition to that, each of the different components vary in about $10 to $20 each, so it's really not that expensive to add on. So we kind of went overkill on it. But what we got with it is 2 motion detectors, 1 glass break sensor, 1 camera, which also has a motion sensor in it, and our camera does have night vision and it does sound. And something really cool about this camera is we can actually record, have it set up to where if the camera is triggered, like motion, it records it and saves it. And this is my favorite, the temperature sensor. And let me just tell you guys, I got so much crap in our last van tour for calling it a temperature sensor instead of a thermometer, but here's why. It notifies you if you go above or below the parameters you've set. So say our van, I think it said it letting us know when it drops below 60 degrees in the van, or 65, and it notifies us if it goes above 78 degrees. So those are temperatures that we're really comfortable keeping Kramer in the van. We know he's fine in that. So if it goes above or below that, we get a notification on our phone saying, hey, the temperature in your van's off. Go check on your dog, something like that. The temperature sensor is mounted up in the front just because that's typically where Kramer hangs out, and it's usually going to be the warmest area of the car since it's least insulated.
And I think it goes without saying that for the Simply Safe to work to your phone, you have to have a hotspot or a Wi-Fi connection. And so we do have a hotspot inside the van that we do connect the Simply Safe to.
Yeah, and people ask a lot if it does drain the data, and truth is, yes, it does. If you're using the video camera a lot, it will zap your data. We don't use the video camera unless we have to. If it's notifies, then we check to see what's going on. We don't just sit there and watch Kramer all the time anymore. We did the first month, and then it drained it.
Yeah.
So we learned our lesson. But yes, it does drain the hotspot. We usually drain our hotspot anyway, so we're usually not that concerned. It just throttles the speeds, but still the throttle speed's enough to run the camera and check on them. So the last room of our van is the garage. So balancing weight in our van was a top priority for us. So to keep it simple, what we did is on the passenger side of the van is essentially all of our plumbing and water and that kind of thing. And then on the driver's side, we have all of our electrical components. Yes, both of these probably could have been consolidated in a smaller area, but having them the length of the entire garage sort of balanced the weight out. Starting on the driver's side with our electrical stuff, we have two 160 amp hour lithium ion batteries. We have a 3000 watt inverter charger. We have all the wires, all the components, the charge controller, everything is back there. I can't even remember the names of all the terminals, all that kind of thing. It's back there. And if you want more information about our exact solar system and how we landed on it, we do have a video to our solar setup, which we will link down below.
And on the passenger side, we have all of our plumbing. We have a 30-gallon water tank on that side and our electric water heater.
We have our water pump, our water strainer, and then the water accumulator. And this is all shear flow. It's pretty standard across a lot of these van conversions, and they've been great for us. So we have those mounted on the wall. All the water is just there on the side, no problems with it. We use PEX pipe to route the water from the water tank up to the kitchen side and to the bathroom side. PEX is great because it's lightweight, very durable, and it's very reliable. You won't have leaks with it as long as you did it right.
Also inside our garage, we keep our backpacks, a box of random camping gear, 2 bicycles, and we each have a random box of clothing if we need to change out if we're in different seasons.
Yeah, things like our hiking boots, our coats, that kind of thing that we don't want to keep. They take up a lot of room that we don't want to keep in the inside of the van. We each have a box that's easy to get to in the back. So, I mean, that's it. You guys have asked what's in the garage. It's not pretty. Oh, something else we need to mention. We also have our fridge box. You saw our fridge from the inside of the van. It does come into the garage a good bit, but we did want to make sure we keep it centered in the van since it is a heavier component, and having that straight in the middle does keep a lot of that weight distribution pretty leveled out.
So that's the garage. It's not the pretty side of the van at all.
It's the ugly part.
But
it's practical and it works, and we've never had any issues back there.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so on to the van finishings.
We just want to talk to you guys briefly about some of the products we did use in our van, some of the stuff you may not be able to see, but we want to tell you what we chose. Starting behind the walls, we first put down sound deadening mat, and you roll it on and then use a heat gun to kind of adhesive it to the wall, and it really does cut down a lot of like the rattle. You may hear it called rattle trap, that kind of thing, but it's just essentially the same thing. On top of that, we have spray foam insulation on every surface, including behind the headliner and on the floors. And we had this professionally done because we didn't really want to run the risk of messing up our van, which is very easy, but we're really glad we invested in this. Spray foam insulation is really good, like with moisture, and since we are from the Southeast US, it is very humid there. And so that's one of the main reasons we went with this.
The walls in the van are 1/2-inch birch plywood that was sanded between each coat of primer and paint to give it an extra smooth finish.
The only wall in the van that is not 1/2-inch birch plywood is on the back side of the shower behind the booth, and we just use 1/4 inch there.
We use standard 1/2-inch thick, 8 feet long shiplap from Home Depot for the ceiling.
For the floor, we did use vinyl locking, and it is rated as waterproof. This stuff has held up really well under a lot of wear and tear this year.
Our lights are LED. The lights have been divided between the front and the back of the van. The front half of the van has a light switch beside the sliding door so we can turn them on as soon as we get in the door. The back half of the van, that's over the bed, has a switch on the foot of the bed where we also keep our fan's remote control. Our lights are on a dimmer except for the light in the shower, which has just an on and off switch.
All of our windows we did have tinted. The ones in the living area are tinted at a limousine tint, which does block out some of the light, but really privacy during the day. We want to be able to sit in our van and work if we're somewhere in public and not have people seeing us working behind, and it works really well. They have no idea we're in there. So those are tinted as dark as you can get them, and then up in the cab area we had the side windows tinted, and I believe those are at 30%. That was the highest you can legally do it in Tennessee.
Yes. So that's it. That's our van tour. If you've made it to the end of this video,
props to you, man.
Yeah, props to you.
Yeah, that was really in-depth, and we did that on purpose because we've been asked a lot about these things. So we try to hit as many of the questions we get all the time in this video. If we still did not answer something for you, check our FAQ series. We've answered a lot of questions there about like our solar. We've answered questions about how we work on the road, that kind of thing. So check that series out. So if you have any questions that we have not answered, or you want further clarification on something, then be sure to leave us a comment below and we'll do our absolute best to answer those. And if you want to see the products that we've used in our van, you can actually download a PDF that we have just hooked up on our website. So just download it there for free. A lot of the products are listed on the website, but if you want just easy access to it, check that out.
Some links are affiliate links, which means
You get a 2% cut maybe,
Yeah,
but it's
something-
no extra cost to you.
No,
It's just
yeah.
a gift from Amazon.
yeah. So thanks for enjoying this video, and we will see you next time.
Bye guys.